Car dealership is under fire right now, accused of scamming customers out of a lot of money. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Eliza Krasinski is in Manchester right now with the details on a lawsuit they're now facing.
So I like that stuff like this is getting more media coverage now. See, this dealership was accused by the FTC of charging customers junk fees for certification, add-on products, and government charges without consumer consent. And the reason why I want to cover something like this and highlight this news report is because I've been very vocal about having zero confidence in the FTC to actually police a lot of these things, a lot of this movement that they're trying to really push onto dealers as far as eliminating a lot of these junk fees and making things more transparent for the consumer. And because I've had zero faith in the FTC to actually pull through on these things and help consumers out, it really makes me feel good to see that they're doing something. And because the media is getting involved, it's going to help more consumers be more aware of a lot of these shady things that dealers are trying to pull over on consumers.
Customers say the Manchester City Nissan told them one thing and did another, adding on junk fees and extra charges without their consent. Now, the state and federal trade commission are getting involved.
I always say karma comes back.
Cars are essential to families in Connecticut, but tonight one dealership is accused of taking customers for a ride.
What is really disappointing and shocking to me are the thousands of dollars in fake fees, bogus fees.
And a lot of times this is what you're going to see. So a lot of these junk fees that they're talking about, you think of nitrogen, you think of a lot of these prep fees, these recon fees, any of this stuff that they're charging consumers thousands upon thousands of dollars. And you can go up to a dealership and look at their labels, and right beside of them, they're supposed to display all of these things that they're charging you. Just because they put it in front of your face doesn't mean it's something that they should actually charge. Nitrogen is one of my biggest things. If you don't know what nitrogen is a fancy type of air that they will put in your tires instead of the regular air. By the way, nitrogen is a majority of the air that we breathe already. But a lot of these fees are things that the consumer doesn't need, but the dealerships, they have massive margins on top of these fees. They're going to try so hard to get you at any angle that they can. And a lot of these junk fees, what we've seen over the years, especially as consumers would pay them because of this lack of inventory, then they would pay these market adjustments. They would pay for nitrogen. They would pay all of these added on fees that these dealers were charging. And now we're starting to catch up in the media. The FTC is getting on board. This is something that we have to eliminate. And this just seeing this come through on a lot of these media outlets, I believe very helpful. And it makes me think twice a little bit about the FTC when I see them going after a dealership like this. Now, the thing about it is, all these dealerships, I won't say all, many dealerships are charging these junk fees. So the FTC has a big job in front of them to try to regulate this and try to police getting a lot of these fees taken away and make it so it's not so commonplace. And I believe when they're picking out dealerships like this, because the FTC, if they're looking at this, they know that all these dealerships are doing this. I think maybe their angle with pointing something out like this and start going through lawsuits and things like this, it's going to wake up at least all the dealerships that are in this area, because these franchise dealers, they talk to each other, they go over rules together. They know what they can get over on customers. They know what they can't get over on customers. But in this area, they're going to start talking. And if one gets hit, then the other ones know that they're going to be next. So they're going to change it, at least in this area. I know, being a used car dealer, that we all talk. We go all the same auctions, and I'm assuming the franchise dealers are the same way. And usually we know when our inspectors are going around and checking dealerships, because we can get text messages. We'll talk at auction, say, oh yeah, our inspector, they hit us a couple of days ago, and they're probably coming to you next because we were right down the road. So I'm not worried about it, because we're not doing anything wrong here at my dealership. But just to let you know that dealers talk, and especially in the same cities, in the same counties, the same areas, if one dealership gets caught doing something, those other dealers around the area, they're going to change something really quick. So that's a good thing for at least that area.
These junk fees add-ons that Manchester City Nissan has larded onto its customers.
The FTC and the Attorney General's office suing locally owned Manchester City Nissan.
It's not nice when you trying to scam people, and you find that everywhere these days.
The lawsuit states customers purchased.
Another thing that's good about the media getting on board with something like this now, this dealership is now going to be known for this thing. A lot of these consumers are going to watch the local news. They're going to remember that name. It's going to be ingrained into their brain. You know what? If I want a new Nissan, I'm not going there. I'm going the town over to go to that next dealership. And it's going to be a difficult thing for this dealership group to be able to shake this story just because, I mean, word of mouth. I mean, things still travel, and the media is doing a great job of this right here. And I mean, as soon as one family knows about this, they're going to let everyone else that they know about this dealership, especially if they're saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a car." So that's a pretty powerful tool that can be against a dealership when they're going through some kind of lawsuit, some kind of what this news group is called as a scam. I mean, that's going to resonate with a lot of people.
Just what they thought were certified pre-owned vehicles, which is a used car in better condition. Everything is fixed and ready to go. And when one is advertised for sale, that's the set price. Well, not at Manchester City Nissan.
The problem is we have evidence and we know that people are going into Manchester City Nissan and they're saying, "Hey, I saw your ad for $20,500. They said, "Yeah, sure, we've got that car, but actually you got to pay another $2,500 more."
In one case,
So this is something that a lot of dealerships do, and I'll tell you why. So the way that marketing works with our online mediums, especially like Car Gurus, Carfax, you can advertise on there, Facebook Marketplace. People can sort on a price from lowest to highest. And the way that a lot of these dealers will get top priority is that they will list their car at the lowest price of any other dealers that are around the area. But they still want to make these high profit margins. They still want to actually sell the car for more than they're listing it. So the way that they get top priority, but they still sell their vehicle for a very, very high amount, is by listing it for something like this, the $15,700. But when you get to their dealership, there's another $2,500 add-on. There's a $5,000 add-on. You pay an extra $500 in nitrogen. You have a $2,000 prep fee, whatever it is. You have your $1,000 doc fee. Yes, you can pay $1,000 doc fee. They're out there, ridiculous. But dealerships will do this to pad their bottom line, to charge you more for this vehicle, but it's giving them the opportunity to get priority listing on these websites and be the cheapest one on the website, even though that's nowhere close to what you're going to be paying for it when you get to the dealership. So my advice to you, if you're going into this situation and looking at this same thing, is if you see a vehicle listed on an online medium, whether it be Car Gurus, whatever you're looking at, call the dealership and say, "Okay, I see that this Nissan Rogue is $15,700. But when I get to your dealership, am I going to be able to pay $15,700 for this vehicle? What other things do you have that I'm going to have to pay for? Because I want to know exactly what I'm going to pay for before I get there." And that way, not every dealership is going to be honest with you, but I think a lot of them will actually tell you what other fees are going to be associated with this when you call them and ask them, "Okay, I need to know the out the door price for this specific vehicle before I come. I just need to know what I'm going to be paying for it. What other fees do you have?" It's always a good phone call to make before you waste about 2 hours of your time getting there, doing the test drive, and then you sit down and like, "Oh yeah. Just so you know, we got this $1,200 doc fee. I know we didn't talk about it, but we got to charge every one of our customers this doc fee." Just know what you're paying for before you waste your time with this dealership.
the lawsuit alleges the business advertised a certified 2017 Nissan Rogue for $15,700, but charged the buyer a $5,000 inspection fee for a vehicle that was advertised as already inspected. Attorney General Tong says the dealership knew.
So I think this is where this dealership is going to really get in trouble, because if they're talking about inspection fees, and what it sounds like is that this news group, whoever's reporting on this, is probably taking this as a different thing than what the dealership meant for it. I'm assuming that the dealership meant that this is the fee for us to inspect the vehicle, to get it up to certification level, to get our techs to look at it, whereas the news group is talking about it already being certified. So there's a big certified for inspection. There's a big gray area around there where there's no law set in place. There's nothing to show what dealers can charge for and what they can't. So a lot of this is up to interpretation. And this dealership is probably going to fight and say, well, yeah, but we give our special inspection, and this is why we charge this $5,200, whereas the other guys that already inspected it, that's not the special. They only gave the special inspection. So if they don't do the special inspection, that's what we do. And that's why we're putting our fee. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you do, because I don't. But this is what they can fight, because all of this is up to interpretation. Even when you come, I'm a small used car lot, and a lot of the laws that dictate what we do here in North Carolina, where I am, are even up to interpretation. We can have two different inspectors from North Carolina walk into my building, and one can say, okay, this paperwork is right because of this law, and another inspector can come and look at the exact same paperwork and say, well, this paperwork is not right because it contradicts this other law over here. And it's up to that inspector's interpretation of the law, which is very vague. And I've went through all the laws, and I've had to discuss in a heated manner with some inspectors before why I would believe paperwork would be the certain way, and show them, okay, this is the law that says it's supposed to be this way. And then the inspector would politely show me another law that said, no, it's supposed to be like this. And these two laws would directly contradict each other. And the inspector would say, I know it says this right here, but this is the law that's going to overrule this one. It needs to be fixed. This is a conversation I've had with my inspector that governs, it's the DMV inspector that governs the laws that I am supposed to follow. And he said, yes, the law is confusing, and yes, they contradict each other, but this is the one we're going to use, and yes, they need to be fixed. But right now, this is what we have to go with. The laws are up to interpretation. This dealer is probably not going to have, there's probably nothing that's going to be done to this dealer because all of these laws are up to so much interpretation. They're going to be able to get around whatever they need to do. They're going to have to change stuff because they don't want the FTC continually breathing down their back. They don't want their inspectors continually breathing down their back. Stuff's going to change, but in this instance, they're probably going to get, the most they're going to get is probably a slap on the wrist. But this is a good move in the right direction that the media's catching on, and the FTC is getting on board with this.
Knew what they were doing and deceived customers.
We've given them every opportunity to explain and to change their practices, and they're just unwilling to do that.
Puts a bad look on other people that are doing things right, as they should.
So what's next for this? Tong says they'll go to court and try this case. He hopes it doesn't get to that point, but he's not so hopeful considering how they've acted so far. I have reached out to the dealership, and we are...
If they're saying that they're not changing anything right now, it's probably because they've done it for so long. They've probably had other instances where they've had to deal with this in court, and the court has probably ruled in favor of them because the law is so... It's not really black and white. It's up to, like I said earlier, interpretation. So by the law standpoint, there's probably something there saying that, you know what, it's okay for them to do it. So that's what they'll have to go through and interpret to see who's right and who's wrong. And that's a big hassle or big obstacle that the FTC is going to have to overcome when they're dealing with all these dealerships, where they're dealing with all these junk fees, specifically because each and every state has different laws governing how the sale of motor vehicles is going to be. And when you have that, you're going to have a bunch of different rules saying what dealers can charge, what they can't charge. Just an easy example. In California, the dock fee is capped. They have a certain amount that they can charge for a dock fee. In a place like Florida, there's no cap on a dock fee. So you can go to California and get almost no dock fee when you're going to buy a vehicle. And then you can go to Florida and you can pay $2,000 for a dock fee. And it's not against the rules. It's not against the law. they can charge it. And there's nothing that the FTC can step in and do about that at the current moment.
We're waiting to hear back. Reporting in Manchester, Eliza Krasinski, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And she just said that they reached out to the dealership and they're still waiting to hear back. I can guarantee you're not going to get a response from that dealer. So there you go. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you.